What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast. Where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color made to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So welcome to Monday's episode. So Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP, and then Fridays everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. I do have a Ask a CISSP ready to go, so hopefully that one comes out this week. So if you are listening to us on podcast, it'll drop over there. If you listen to us on the radio, sometimes it's a separate episode, or you can hit us up, at all your podcast platforms of choice. But without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article is from darkreading.com, written by Nate Nelson. And the title of this one is Putin's Cyberattacks on Ukraine Rise 70% with Little Effect. So we talked about this before, right? So when Putin decided to go into Ukraine, right? It was one of those things where we were just like, okay, we talked about how before he went in, he did the whole cybersecurity thing, right? He was DDoSing different government sites and things of that nature. And we've talked about it before in the past about how the future of warfare is not necessarily starting with tanks and bullets and missiles and planes, right? This is what you're doing. And as you're seeing now, like we're 3 years in now, like how long has it been that he's been battling with Ukraine, right? It's been about 3 years or so, I want to say. And even 3 years on, it's not about drones. It's not about tanks or anything like that, right? It's about doing the whole cybersecurity thing, right? Because Russia is realizing, like everybody else, that this is the future of warfare, right? So they talk about in the article, right? Russian cyber attacks against Ukraine rose approximately 70% last year, right? So we're talking 2024, and the number of truly critical incidents dropped even more to 84%, right? So, Ukraine is getting it bad now, right? So, it's one of those things where some support from other countries seems to not be there as much as it is. And now they have to deal with this type of stuff when it comes to cybersecurity, but they seem to be handling it pretty well coming from Russia, right? So even though, it's ramped up, and what they talk about in the article is that the second half of the year, in 2024 is where it really ramped up, right? So they've been doing it the whole time, but the second half of the year, was a big hit for them. Like they were getting a lot of it. And it's CERT UA is who's running the numbers on this, right? And they attributed 4,315 cybersecurity incidents to Russian intelligence services in 2024, right? When you go back to 2023, when they count that, it was 2,543, right? So it was a good 2,000 more incidents that were happening, right? And so when I was talking about the first and the second half of the year, when they throw the numbers out there, first half of the year, they say it was 1,739 incidents. Second half of the year, 2,576, right? So again, folks, I realize, we see the news and we see everything that's going on, and the stuff that makes the news is, the drone strikes, the tanks, things of that nature. But this is really where the battle is being fought, right? So yeah, Russia they're trying to take it to them, and they're going after government sites, military targets, things of that nature, because that's how you weaken them, right? So intelligence is everywhere. Let me not say intelligence, technology is everywhere, to where this is the target you need to take out before you start doing anything that's physical. Right. So Ukraine is they're on the backside of this, but they seem to be handling it pretty well. But who knows how long that can hold up, right? Russia, it takes them less. It's cheaper, I should say, for them to go the cybersecurity route, right, than just to keep losing tanks and drones and things of that nature, right? So you're getting more bang for your buck, more return on investment doing these types of things. And so Russia has their own intelligence director, right? The GRU, Unit 29155 is what they call it. So they got floors of people that are sitting in Russia making this stuff happen. This is not new to them. They've been doing this for a while, right? And Russia, they get a lot of cybersecurity attacks attributed to them. So this isn't necessarily surprising that they're doing it, but it's surprising that they're doing it on the scale they are with the conflict that they're in. But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, I was actually trying to look at when the campaign started. It has been a while now. It looks as though I think it parallels to the U.S. in Afghanistan, in that it'll be used as kind of like a proving ground, or a place where people can kind of view the battle and start to learn our tactics. So over that 20-year span that we were in Afghanistan, a lot of groups use that as kind of like I'm trying to think of an analogy.
Case studies type thing, like
like case studies, or like film. If you were in football, right? Like they watched our tactics versus the our enemy, and we're able to duplicate it in other theaters, right? Like it pretty much is like used in their war rooms. Like, okay, here's cutting edge tactics and how they've been deployed, and this how we can adapt them to use ourselves. So you kind of teach the enemy when you're in combat with them or in contact with them for so long. So I think the same thing is happening here, where we can use the Russian tactics against Ukraine as kind of like a case study of this is how Russia does business, as well as how we can better defend ourselves versus our adversaries, because we can take what they've been deploying and adapt it ourselves. Again, it could be used by your enemies to your disadvantage. So in this case, Ukraine is adapting to being under, you know, a constant attack, so it's becoming less effective. However, there has been one or so useful deployments of malicious QR codes. So in the article, there's a link to it, and they're using fake QR codes to bring people to Russian servers. They're using the tactic where they're connecting devices. So it says the attackers are taking advantage of, in quotes, linked devices, a feature of Signal app that allows users to securely connect and synchronize their accounts across multiple devices. However, the tactics that are being used by this threat group uses it to unwittingly link their accounts in a slightly different way. So it's being called UNC 5782, has been used to send invitations asking target individuals to join a Signal group by sharing a malicious QR code with them. While the invitation looks identical to Signal group invite, the threat actors have modified them so that anyone social engineered into scanning the QR code ends up linking their account to the UNC 592 controlled device instead. So, and they said they've been seeing some military victories, like small victories. So they think that this may be linked to it, where they're able to gather intelligence and things of that nature from the enemy and use it to their advantage. So, again, Signal is in the limelight, not in a good way, because everybody believes it to be the holy grail of encrypted chat. So I'm not knocking Signal, right? Like, I'm just saying, just because you think it's secure doesn't mean it's secure, right? Just because you see the little lock doesn't mean that you've hit an official site that's secure. Like, you still have to do your due diligence to make sure what you believe to be an encrypted channel is actually encrypted. And in this case, it is encrypted. It's just encrypted with the bad guys, where they're able to collect intel and things of that nature. So I'm always wary of QR codes. I never scan them anyway.
That's what I was getting ready to say is the QR code spoofing is getting very, very prevalent now, right? Like that, like a lot of these bad actors are using that to do because it's easy too, right? It's just like, oh, I could do it through my camera and just, navigate to it. Like it's very easy to do. So yeah, they getting them. They're getting people to come in and, you think you're looking at a menu or something like that for some site or
Right.
whatever. And next thing you know, they got you, right?
Yeah, it became very prevalent during COVID. You would go to a restaurant, like at least here in Florida, right? Everybody else, the rest of the world was locked down. Florida was still uh, wide open, but they still used mitigation factors, right? Like we weren't passing around menus, things of that nature. They would just have like a QR code stuck to the table, and if you wanted to see the menu, you had to scan it. So in those cases, I was like, oh man. But I guess I was like, in to mitigate the spread of infectious disease, okay. But at the same time, like somebody could have just stuck a QR code on top of this QR code, right? Sticker on top of the sticker, and I just didn't like it. But sometimes you have to capitulate because you have no choice. So, but yeah, again, I think that I don't foresee Russia's tactics getting softer. I think they're also adapting, but at the same time, if you're constantly attacking someone, they're going to start to figure out your playbook, right? Over time. In this case, it looks as Ukraine is definitely getting better at protecting themselves, even though the attacks are ramping up, and the rest of the world is watching. So we're also learning Russia's techniques, tactics, and procedures because of this prolonged war that's currently raging. Definitely continue to check us out. We're on all of the podcast platforms of choice. You can find us at the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, ask a CISSP, or you can go to ramcyber.io. And I plan on buying some more URLs and or some more domains in the very near future. But hit us up at all of those websites. You can get me personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me on LinkedIn, where I'm most active. Stay safe. Stay secure.